So you're gonna tell me that I can get a camera that you can change the lenses, has clean HDMI out, you can plug in via USB to make a webcam for $6.99? Get out of here. Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Jimmy Fornitron here, the Fornitron! And today, we're gonna be talking about the newest camera that Canon just announced today, the EOS M50 Mark II. And we're gonna talk about why this camera is really exciting. So let's go over the specs real quick. I know you're super jazzed about these. So it's got a 24.1 megapixel APS-C CMOS sensor. Okay, so that's the same as last year's pretty much, or the previous EOS M50. But honestly, like, who cares? 24 megapixels, that's enough to take sharp thumbnails, and the video looks nice enough in that. So no biggie there. Digigate processor, I think it's the same as the previous one, but maybe they've tweaked it a little bit. But again, let's not get too involved with the specs. We'll get more on that later. You can record 4K up to 24 frames per second. I think you can do 30p as well. And you can do up to 120 frames per second in 720. Okay, so let's talk about that real quick there. So people are gonna be like, yeah, but the 4K has an extra crop on top of the already cropped APS-C sensor. So for those of you who don't know, there's full frame cameras and then there's crop sensor cameras. So when you buy lens focal length, so let's say you buy a 50 millimeter lens, on a full frame camera, it's 50 millimeters. But when you get an APS-C camera, there's usually like a 1.5 or 1.6 crop. On Canon cameras, it's a 1.6 crop for their crop sensor cameras. So that 50 mil turns into an 80 mil. So that just means it crops in much closer than its regular focal length. But people are talking about how the 4K on the EOS M50 and the EOS M50 Mark II, there will be an additional 1.5 crop on top of its already cropped sensor. So all of your lenses are gonna be super zoomed in. But here's my thing. For this camera, what I intend on using it for and what you should intend on using it for, you're not gonna film in 4K, especially when it's gonna be part of your little streaming square, or like it's gonna be in your stream. No one cares if that little square is in 4K. It's not gonna be in 4K. So as long as the camera can record 1080p 60, I think a lot of people will be happy. So I'm not even gonna bother with the 4K. And then also the 720p slow-mo, who cares? You're not Peter McKinnon, you're not shooting some super slick B-roll, whatever. That's not the camera for you. This is gonna be a camera for streamers. I'm gonna tell you why. This camera is gonna be a game changer for streamers for a few reasons. One, its size. It's a small, compact EOS M mirrorless camera. So it's gonna be super easy to mount in between all of your monitors. You don't need some huge tripod to mount it or put it somewhere. You can just put it on a cheap monopod or a cheap stand, and it's gonna hold secure. Another thing too, it's gonna have clean HDMI out. And then on a new camera that's less than $1,000, like this camera's only $599 for just the body, that's awesome. So if you do have like the Elgato Cam Link, you could just plug it into that for the highest recording quality. But if you're not too worried about that, Canon actually came out with a pretty awesome feature that I don't think a lot of people are talking enough about, and that's their Canon EOS webcam utility. And then what that does is it turns your camera into a webcam. So you can plug your Canon camera into your computer with one USB cable, and then boom, you have yourself a webcam that you can change the lenses on. That's exactly how I'm recording this video right now. I don't even record SD cards anymore. I just have it go into my computer with a USB cable. I open up OBS and I record through there, so I can like instantly watch the playback. I don't have to record SD cards, take the stupid SD card out, put it in the reader, and then like import the file into the computer and then open it and then watch it just to find out like, oh, I've got a booger hanging. Great, delete. No. Now I can just have everything in my OBS set up and then just record straight to there and then instantly play it back. Game changer for content creators. It used to be that I preferred making live streams because it's just like boom, you hit a switch, you just go. and then you've got your content. Whereas YouTube, you kind of have to plot out what you're gonna say, and you gotta have everything set up, and then it's a lot more production. But this just makes the workflow so much more streamlined. So if you're looking into getting into streaming or content creation, this is huge, and I really recommend you have a setup like this. Yo, and I know what you're thinking. I know a lot of you are gonna get hung up on the super hard crop on the 4K and how it doesn't do 4K 60, and you have to just let that stuff go. Like, a lot of people get hung up on all these specs and they chase these cameras that have these insane specs, and then you think that higher specs is gonna equal better content, but it never does. Getting a camera that can just do as much as you want with as little effort as possible is the way to go. The reason why I love Canon cameras is because just right out the gate, without having to edit the colors or tweak anything, just the picture that comes out right off the rip is awesome. It's good enough. It looks great. So not having to add a bunch of extra work on top of thinking of content or having a good stream is amazing. You don't want to do all that extra stuff. If you're looking to make YouTube videos that are gonna win cinematography awards, yeah, step up your game, buy a more expensive camera, and then learn how to color match or color tweak or color grade. That's the word. That was the one. Color grade. But if you're not doing any of that, I've seen a lot of up and coming YouTubers or people that do Twitch and then also make YouTube videos. You don't need much. You just need a camera to make sure that you look clear, and then make sure you got good enough audio, and that's it. And this camera is gonna make you able to do that, and it's for a super good price. This camera comes in at $599, or you could pay a little bit more and get the $699 version that comes with the kit lens. And the kit lens is meh, but I would recommend, if you're wanting to step your video game up from just a webcam to a camera where you can change the lenses, then I would leave enough money to invest in a really good lens. So the lens that I would recommend for this camera is the Sigma 16mm 1.8. I think, or it might even be 1.6 or 1.4, which is gonna be a super sharp lens where it'll really blur out the background and really just focus on you. And at a 1.6 crop, a 16mm lens is kind of like a 24mm lens. So it'll be wider than what I have on right now, but it'll be good enough for when you're streaming or making any sort of YouTube content, and you'll look great. The lens and the camera combined is gonna be around this price here, which I know is a lot of money for a lot of people, but when you're getting to that point where you're ready to step up to the next level, I think that this pairing is gonna last you a super long time, and you'll really be happy with the results. I'm personally really stoked for this upgrade in the EOS M50. I'm probably gonna be picking one up when it comes out later in November. But what I really want you to do is not focus on those specs, and you will see the content that you're able to create with this camera that on a spec sheet looks kind of dumpy, but in real world use, you're gonna see how awesome it is. I'm really stoked for it. It's gonna be a great camera. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. If you like the content, then just please subscribe. And if you haven't already, follow me on Twitch. I'm at www.twitch.tv/Jimmy4Tron. I mostly stream Dark Souls games or From Software games or any sort of RPG kind of like that. Also, if you haven't already, check out my copyright-free metal music on my SoundCloud account. That's on soundcloud.com/Fornatron. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. I'm gonna head out of here. But I just want you to do me one last favor. Have yourself a great day. Cheers, guys.